We are starting with Big Mistake by Pixel Team. And actually, I am going to be joined on the call shortly by Pixel Team Pat. So I'm going to initiate the Discord call and launch the game. But perhaps I will read through the README first. So let's see. It's a pinball game. Got the screenshots here. I did see Evensky already trying this on his stream the other day, so I have some idea of what to expect. Farmer Ted wants to milk his favorite cow, Mistake, but he left the bullpen open and the bulls got out. What a big mistake that was. Get an inside look at the utter madness of the dairy business in this action-packed pinball game made for the GMC number 41 Game Jam. The goal is to get as many points as possible, and maybe a peek at Mistake herself. Collect hearts to fill up the 3 keys to unlock Mistake's barn. Can you get inside, where you're guaranteed to score? Are you weirded out yet? How do you think I feel? I made the thing. Spinner awards extra points. Bumpers knock the ball in whatever direction they go. Knockouts, you gotta hit the little hearts, and then bullheads. Sometimes it's a good thing. Okay, there's multipliers for keeping the momentum up. Multi-ball, that's cool. Extra ball for 1,000,000 points. I don't know. And then the most importantly, we've got the controls, left and right flipper. And Matthew, thank you for the follow. And welcome Evensky for gotta drop in there with that first emote. But yeah, here we go. We're going to initiate the call, get Pixel Team Pat on, and then I will start the game. That's really loud. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello. Stream, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
I
Hello?
hear you pretty.
Okay. So you can hear me. All right. Sounds like chat can hear both of us. That's
delay,
great.
I think.
Oh, there's a delay. You know what? Let me launch the dedicated Discord app and I'll give you a call right back. 1 sec. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm not sure why there was a delay, but let's try dedicated. Hello?
Hello?
All right, is this better? Maybe? Yes, no?
It sounds more of the same, but it'll have to do, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why there's a delay. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so I'm going to get started here with playing the game, and I'll also get started with the interview questions that I had queued up. So, first of all, would you care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I am Pat Ferguson. I'm a developer from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, okay.
And I've been
sorry
using
about the
GameMaker Studio for. That's kind of loud.
Yeah, I just realized that, and I'm like desperately trying to open my volume mixer to turn it down. All right, sorry about that.
You can play the game, and then we can chat after. That's fine.
Well, I figure I can. If I'm just sort of asking the questions and you're answering, I've done this a few times where I've been trying to play the game. I mean, pinball I don't think is too mentally demanding, so I'll see.
All right.
All right. So sorry I interrupted your introduction, but you're from Las Vegas, Nevada, and
That's correct. And let's see, I was using GameMaker Studio since right around the GMC 37.
Nice.
So, I don't know, maybe a year or so now.
So is that, did you get your start with GameMaker Studio version 2 or 1?
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of 1. I started on 2.
Interesting, okay. So have you found, did you...
Yeah, before that, I was doing ActionScript and iOS development, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you anticipated my question, which was like, yeah, well, what other experience did you have developing before GameMaker? But yeah, so you released a couple games on the App Store?
Not on the App Store. I worked for gaming companies. I'm in the casino gambling business,
Okay.
and I've been in it about, well, almost 25 years now.
Wow. Yeah, so the one thing that I know about the casino and gambling business is when you work on a game for them, you have to guarantee that in the event of a like a power outage or something, that the game like completely remembers its state. Like it has to restore completely to how it was.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, and I had the fun job of having to rendering all that stuff out for the player on an iOS device too.
Oh my goodness.
It's not fun.
Oh my goodness, I keep getting these multiple bonuses here. Yeah, so does that mean that you're sort of engineering games that are kind of like continuously in the state of like saving constantly and
Well, for mobile gambling, typically it works like the client will do a request to a server,
right.
and then the server will come back with the result for the game. And so the server has a record of every transaction,
Okay.
requests and responses and whatnot. So when the game gets restored, it talks to the server to get the last, 50 or so games.
Interesting. So what made you decide to make a pinball style game for the Jam?
Well, up to now, I'd done a few other type of games, and I was tinkering with Game Maker Studios physics, the Box 2D stuff,
Right.
and I wanted to do a Peggle style game. And I noticed that the physics engine, they don't allow you to peek ahead in the simulation. Now, maybe there is a way to do it, and I just can't figure it out. But it was escaping me. But I was tinkering with the 3D part right up to the last week before the Jam, and it was starting to look like it was going to be a big mistake for the theme. But it wasn't until like maybe 2 days before that I actually got like flippers hitting a ball, and I thought, okay, all right, I'm committing to a pinball game, and whatever the theme ends up being, I'm gonna do a pinball.
Okay, so you had the structure of the game planned out ahead of time, and then you wanted to tie in the theming, and that's where you got the idea for Big Miss Steak.
I don't know about other devs, but for me, I sort of have like an idea of how I'm gonna make an engine. Like it'll be this type of game, and then we sort of shoehorn in the theme after the fact.
Yeah, I think it varies. I think
But yeah, I mean,
yeah, just like when I made a game using a platforming engine that I already had, and I wanted to sort of tie in a minimal narrative to that. But we are getting some comments coming in from the chat here, so I'm going to. Is there a pause, or do I just have to kind of quickly glance over and read? Whoops.
and I'm such a schmuck. I should have put that. Well, that should have been one of the first ones to put in.
Well, that's all right. I just.
And if I didn't have a pause, at the very least, I could have had it exit out of the full screen mode, and then you could have held the mouse button on the window, and that would have paused it. But unfortunately, no.
No, that's all right.
It
So,
looked like you've seen everything this game has. You're really kicking butt.
I guess I'm just gonna. I don't know. Like I wouldn't consider myself any kind of pinball whiz, but I'm just tapping away, doing my best here.
I had to look up the type of things you see on a pinball board just to, start to make these little gimmicks that appear on the board. I mean, I know everybody knows the bumpers, right? But
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a really fascinating video by the Slow Mo guys actually talking about how some of these pinball mechanics work and showing how they work in slow motion. It's a really
Now,
neat
the,
video.
the little black and white screen in the top right.
Yeah.
Um, so when I got my start in the gaming industry, I started out as a pixel artist, and we're talking, I was like 19, 20 years old. And my first job was to make these single color animations on these little displays that you'd find on slot machines, and the three color ones you see over a bank of games where the progressive meters would go.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm able to crank these type of things out real fast during a jam, because I've just been doing it so long.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, I can definitely tell. I can definitely, like, just from looking at it, I really get the feeling of, like, um, how should I say, like, you've got a process and you know what you're going for, and, like, are you, like, what tool do you use to illustrate these or animate these?
So my main pixel editing tool is ProMotion by Cosmigo, and I know the author. His name is Jan Zimmerman, and he modeled the program after a program called Deluxe Paint that came out on the Amiga computer back in the late 80s. And I reached out to him, and then we're talking over 20 years ago,
Mhm.
and I was suggesting some features for the program. And so he invited me into his beta program, and I've been using ProMotion ever since. And if you happen to have ProMotion and you go in the credits, you'll see my name in the credits there.
That's awesome. So, yeah, let's see.
Name drop
We've
or
got
anything, but yeah.
we've got Evensky chiming in saying that your voice sounds real nice, and also commenting that when he makes a game, he
Oh,
goes
I
in
like
with,
his voice too.
yeah, you've probably heard him on the stream a couple times. On his stream, definitely, and then he even had an interview on my stream the other day. And so Evensky is saying, I go in with
He's
no
a good guy, and
plan.
I
Sorry, go
think
ahead.
he's doing a great job as a jam host too.
Yeah, he's here in chat now, so I'm sure he appreciates you
Minor
saying
flip
so, and
of
I
the
agree.
side.
So, yeah, Ivinsky. Oh, there you go. It's nice heart emote for you, and saying that you go in with no plan a lot. Oh, okay. For some reason, I was reading that as like go in with nothing, plan a lot. Turns out okay. No, no, no. Go in with no plan most of the time, and then that happens to work out. Yeah, like if a game jam announces its theme ahead of time, I'll definitely start brainstorming about what I want to make. Do all the sort of planning of things, and then when the jam actually begins, that's when I start making the game.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I am. I might have some little bits under the hood. Like for example, my credit scroller, I make these little prefabs or packages that I can
Yeah.
import and slap together so that, the commonly used stuff is out of the way.
So the
But when it came to pinball, right at the start, I had nothing but the ball falling down in the tray and the flippers, and I just
mhm.
started trying to come up with little items to go in there.
Nice. So I guess the last thing I wanted to ask with the displays along the side of the screen, like were those LCD displays or like you know um I don't think it's quite as
Are you
old
talking
as.
about in real pinball games?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, and sorry, like specifically the ones that you worked on, the displays that you worked on, like what kind of
Oh, okay.
screen
So
was using?
the ones I worked on, they were called vacuum fluorescent displays, or VFDs.
Okay.
And the second type was LEDs, which were red, green, and yellow only.
Right.
So I was working with 4 colors on those, and then with the VFDs, it was just 2 colors, either on or off.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering what was creating the constraint of the color schemes. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it
and
works super well
early
here,
on,
though.
I really wanted to have like a, a glow to put on those displays too, and I had a shader, but the shader would only affect the entire game, and it was
Hmm.
blowing out all the color on the pinball board part, and I couldn't
Right.
isolate it to just the display. So I'm hoping that's one of the things I can work out in a post jam version.
Yeah, I would think so. So I'm gonna ask the questions a little out of order here, but we so you mentioned like a post jam version. Like, what are your plans for the game post jam?
Well, I guess it depends on um, how motivated I am to continue on it. Unfortunately, I have kind of a short attention span. I don't like to dwell on a single project for too long. That being said, there were some things that I wanted to put into this that I didn't have time to put in, and I think I mentioned it on Avansky's stream. I had an idea where I was going to have these little mounds of dirt, and these gopher heads would come up, and then you hit the gophers with the ball, and then the gophers would fly into the air, and then hit the ground, and then kind of scurry back into the holes, that kind of thing. You know, maybe just a few more level ideas. And the other thing that I wasn't crazy about is how if you complete the first level, it it sends you to the second level when your ball gets lost. And I wasn't super crazy about that. And what I'd rather have is a level selection before when you start the game, and then it'll just let you pick the levels as you unlock them.
Yeah, okay. So where did you get the inspiration to take the name, like the theme? How did you translate the theme of a big mistake into big mistake?
I, I'm constantly like coming up with puns all the time. It's like a psychological defect I have to live with. Yeah, and it ruins morning meetings with my job and everything. But yeah, and I was hoping I wouldn't get penalized for not exactly making a game called Big Mistake. And someone say, that's not a big mistake. It's just a play on the word. I wanted the theme to be a big mistake.
I think it really
So,
depends. You might get
that's where I
some
put in the little
sticklers, but
description about the leaving the cow pen out.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like some people are real sticklers about like, oh, it must adhere to theme, but I've always been like more of the mind that a theme should be there to inspire you, but it shouldn't constrain what you want to make. And you definitely took it in as an inspiration. Although, come on, Evensky, I saw the beginning of your stream. There's no way that you like. Okay, first of all, you're saying 0 out of 10 no cow nudity. I mean, what are cows if not permanently nude?
Yeah, he wanted the bumpers to come off of the cow udders on the second level, and
I don't want to
this is
think
a
about the
kid show,
implications of
man.
that. All right.
No,
Well, let me.
I was just going for silliness,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I wanted something that little kids can play, and
Yeah.
something that wouldn't, make moms block me.
Well, it's definitely a good bit of zany fun. Um, what were there any particularly like clever hacks or shortcuts that you needed to implement to get this project working that you probably wouldn't have done for a larger scale project?
I thought about that, and I think there was one thing I did with pixels. Um, so on the main title screen, you got the cow in front of a series of wood planks.
Hmm.
Those wood planks are actually just an image of planks I found online, and I used a technique by a guy by the name of Dan Fessler, and he wrote an article I think you can find it on 2D Will Never Die or something like that.
Okay.
And it's basically you take it into Photoshop and you give it a posterized layer. You turn it in black and white, then you give it a posterized layer, and you limit it to 7 colors. And then you add a gradient map on that, and then once that's done, you make a 4-pixel checkerboard pattern and fill a layer above that. And then when you control the opacity of that layer, it'll make that image look like it's pixel art.
Huh. That's a really
Now,
cool
it's not a
technique.
substitute for doing all the hard work of dithering and all that, but it has a pretty good effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always. So
Anyway,
I can see what you
cut
mean.
corners to do that piece because I had to have them.
Yeah, so I can see what you mean about not necessarily using that on a production project, but yeah, it does. Like, that's very convincing. It does look like a pixel art effect. It's actually perfect timing. I just lost in the game, so I could. I totally intentionally lost just so I could see the title screen right now.
Yeah, I wanted to draw planks, but I mean, having to bounce between writing code and doing the sound and music and pixel art, you have to cut corners. I really wanted to clean up the pixels on this cow head on the titles page too, but I just, you can't do everything.
Yeah, so was there anything that you had to cut or change about the game in order to finish it in time?
Yeah, I mentioned a few things in my devlog that I wanted to do. Like I was gonna have the logo drop in and do like maybe a little bounce and stretch, and I never got around to getting that. And I did make, and then of course there was the glow on the VFD display. That was a miss, even though I spent some time trying to R&D it. But
Yeah, I
I
saw
mean, I guess
Evensky.
no
Sorry,
game is ever done until you just call it a game. And
yeah, it's very true. I did see Evensky in the comments mentioning layer surfaces and layers. I'm not sure if that's exactly related to like a solution to the like constraining, because it sounds like you, from my understanding, you would probably want to constrain the shader to only apply to a specific surface that you draw the pixel art to, or that you're only activating a surface on a specific layer, or a shader on a specific layer. So I haven't messed around with shaders in GameMaker, so
take the VFD and just draw the VFD only to its own surface. But
yeah,
then I got
the
a
idea.
black screen that covered up the whole game.
Yeah, I have some experience working with surfaces in GameMaker. Yeah. Yeah, Evensky is elaborating that apply the shader.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to suggestions if.
Sorry.
Evansky looks like he's willing to help, and that's cool.
Yeah, it seems it's pretty much what I thought was that like you're applying the shader onto a surface that has only the pixel art on it. So.
And he was mentioning the teaser pic where I put the pixelated
the cow
belly. Yeah. I don't think I would show a nude cow on a game.
It's the weird thing where like something just feels more explicit because it's censored.
Right, yeah. I was gonna put like a black bar over it too, and I was thinking of ideas on how I was gonna do that.
Well, but yeah, so I guess as we're sort of, I lost there real quick. I seem to have done my best on my very first attempt, and I'm doing half as well each time that I try. So, just before we wrap up here, is there?
Cool.
Sorry.
Oh, you got the high score.
Yes, I managed to get the high score on my very first attempt, and then other than that, I just wanted to ask if there's any other anything else you want to plug or mention. Like where can people find you? Feel free to drop a link in chat if you'd like.
Sure. All right. Yeah, I'm Pixel Team at pixel-team.net, which is really just, it points right to my itch.io page.
All
Yeah,
right, well,
and
I
right
can.
now there's only a couple games there, but I'm gonna see about adding more games.
All right,
Oh, yeah, you got it. Thanks.
absolutely.
And thank you so much for having me today too. I really,
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun.
really appreciate that.
I'm sorry about the delay in communication here, but
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it's just causing me to wait like 9 years before I respond to everything.
yeah.